Go for it. Good evening, everyone. The time is now 6:04 and I will call the meeting to order. Please join me with the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Alrighty, we'll do a quick roll call for all those out in the internet world with the Zoom meeting. Bill, you want to start here and we'll just go around the table?
Bill Washansky here.
Jacob Kane, Charlestown.
Steve Delesio, Walpole.
Garrett Neal at large.
Suzanne Clark, Alstead. Mr. Langton, School Board Rep.
Matt Benoit, Langton.
Very good. Thank you for coming tonight, everyone. First thing on the agenda is review and approval of the prior meeting minutes. They're in the packet.
My apologies for not getting it out sooner, but I know they have to be out in 5 days, so. Sometimes other things get in the way.
Any discussion on the minutes, or we still need a minute to review?
I'm good.
Do I have a motion?
Make a motion to approve minutes from the May 6th meeting.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstain?
I did.
You did, okay.
Motion carries. Update on requested information from SAU. Steve.
Yep.
Where do we?
Okay, so we got a whole bunch of information, different things. You'll go through them as you want.
Yeah.
The revised budget, the default budget revision has not been released yet. However, some people have it, so I'm not sure if it actually got to the board yet, the school board.
I don't believe we have it. Chris and I were actually talking about, that's the default budget, right?
Right,
Yeah, no, we haven't seen it.
see it, yeah, I know teachers know what it is and.
Wow.
People have been talking about it, so I don't know where it's coming from, but it's out there.
Okay,
But anyway, but it was promised to have by July, so,
I'll ask our next meeting.
Yeah.
To get a copy of
Yeah.
it, so I can bring it to you guys.
yeah. I know at the meeting, we said by July 1st it would be out, so. That's when the school year starts. We'll see. So if you wanna put documents up, we can walk through it.
Yeah, which one do we want on first?
I think maybe the savings as of April 2026 document.
Which one is this, Steve?
It's,
I'm gonna have it up on the screen.
yes, I know up on the screen so we can see it, but.
All right,
There you go.
that's the one you were talking about,
Yeah,
right, Steve?
that's the one. It's also in your package. So. One of the questions we asked is what's the projected unspent money by the end of the school year? Right. So Lori was able to provide this, and it's also been provided to the school board for savings greater than $10,000. Right, so these are the way they're gonna save money, or the way the money is being saved. You go down, so last meeting I gave out a chart of accounts with the function code. So I just, on my copy or the copy in your folder, I wrote in what those function codes mean, so give you a little bit of a head start when you go looking at it. It's mostly positions, I don't see much of anything else there. Going through it, I guess people can live without whatever they're not using. One question I had at the bottom. Is there, she says there's a savings with corresponding reduction in revenue for the following capital reserve projects. I'm not sure if that's being used as a savings against the operating budget. But if it is, it cannot be used against the operating budget because that money's been put away in a capital reserve. It's not being taken out of the capital reserve. You can't use it someplace else, right? It's been allocated very specifically to different things. You're just not spending the money. So I don't know. That's a question I think for this to ask Lori.
So when I ask her, you wanna know if it's a savings against the operating budget, or is it just?
Yeah, the
money?
last two items. Are they planning on using that against the operating budget? If so, it can't be used against the operating budget because it's
Okay.
coming from a capital reserve.
So if it's not, it's just not being accessed.
Right,
Okay.
they're not doing the projects because I guess the 70,000 was for a study on the Walpole Elementary School to add more classrooms. But I guess they decided they can fit North Walpole into Walpole without doing that. I think the 10,000 was for the high school to look at the lobby.
Yeah, I think you're right. To make
You're
it
saying
more
they're already allocated?
I'm sorry, Matt, I didn't quite get
You
it.
were saying they're already allocated, can't be touched?
Right, the voters voted for that money to go very specifically and it comes out of a capital reserve.
Yep,
It just means the money doesn't come out of the capital reserve. You can't say I'm saving money someplace else. Or you can't use it someplace else.
yeah,
It's as the voted, whatever the voters voted on, you can't move it around.
Is that the 10,000 that I took a lot of grief for at the 2025 meeting?
Yes,
All right, yeah. Great.
Sorry, I'm laughing.
this is what happens, right? So,
It's all why we're here though, right?
right. And I gave them a lot of grief for the 70,000 too. I said, why are we putting the money into safety? For years, they've been yelling at safety at the school. And instead of putting the money towards the safety requirements, they move it for a study. To add more classrooms by
so the 70,000 is for a study done by an architect.
an architect.
So in theory, if we find an architect, whoever finds an architect at 60,000, what happens to,
You just don't use the money.
just sits there?
Stays in capital reserve. Yeah. Every year, just for Matt's benefit, maybe some others, but every year at the end of the year, or actually when we vote. We vote to put so much money back into the capital reserves from unspent money. So if the school, at the end of the year, we have a $500,000 surplus. And we voted to put 250,000 of that surplus into capital. So that goes back to the towns as capital money for future use. The remaining of it can be used any way that the school board elects to.
That's it, okay.
So one of the numbers I always wanna see is how much. Well, two things, the reason to look at this carefully. For a couple of years now, we've had over $1 million worth of unspent money at the end of the year. That means we're overtaxing. The taxpayers by over $1 million. Right, now, there's a lot of reasons for that, mostly because. Going back a couple of years. If there was 50 open positions at the end of the year. The administration would budget for all 50 positions to be filled on July 1st, which is unrealistic. And then we kind of forced them into doing vacancy management, saying, okay, what's realistic? How many will start in July? How many may start in September? How many may start later in the year? How many do you think are going unfilled? Right, and that helped reduce the budget by almost $250,000 one year. Right, but we kind of drifted away from that a little bit again, and they're still over. You're over budgeting by close to $1 million a year.
So I have a question, just because I'm new to this and I'm curious.
Yep.
Is the mindset of this committee that, seeing how we don't have any teeth, it's an advisory role, are we? In the past, has the committee been set up to help the school board find ways to fund the stuff that they want in creative ways, or has it been set up to keep them in check? So they don't overspending. Cause I've seen it go both ways in different departments in different towns, you know? And sometimes the committees are, oh, here's a creative way to make this happen. If you set a budget and it doesn't get spent, then you have money in 3 years from now to use that for whatever. And I'm just curious what everybody feels the committee's role is.
I'll jump in on what my thoughts is. I look at it as. We are given the budget and the information and we look at it very, very closely and we come up with a number. And let's say they come, like easy numbers, they come back and say they need $35 million. And we look and we're like, actually, you probably only need like 34. So we ask them, we ask them to look at cutting $1 million, but we do not, and we give suggestions like, oh, maybe like this or this, and then they cut from where they think is necessary, so it's not necessarily what we're suggesting. It's where they think they can do it. Does that answer? And does anyone
Does
else?
everyone feel basically the same way on that?
I'm pretty parallel, I think this committee actually has teeth, but has been nice in the past, cause there's a bunch of RSAs that give us authority to do our job.
And they
We,
have to use your number, they just don't
Yeah,
have to use.
so,
what
like,
you suggest.
last year, when we said cut 1.5 million. They couldn't just shake that off, and then they cut around 1.7 for round numbers. But then to kind of jump on what Suzanne said. We had a big list of where we thought it could come from. And they used about half of it.
So the deduction is more of a demand, how to do it.
Yeah, so we're here to
Okay.
be like a check and balance.
Good.
The challenge for the school board and the admin is that they have to take quality education into play when they're decision making.
Yeah.
We can just whip out the red pens in here if we want to. For lack of better words, and just be money driven. I mean, there isn't a person at this table that doesn't have quality education in their mind, or they wouldn't be here.
That's what school's about.
You know, nobody wants to see quality education go down, but we also can't put an overwhelming burden on the community. You know, it's gotta find a balancing point, I guess, is what I'm going at.
I was just curious how everyone felt about it.
Yeah.
Cause it could go one way or the other, really.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, I think, you know, for me, it's always about providing the best education at the least possible cost.
Yeah.
Right, that's how I look at it. And I don't think the administration looks at things with very creative eyes. Right? They're more. This is the way we've done it, this is the way it goes, right?
Yeah.
Well, you know, us in business have to look at how do you turn $1 into 2, right?
Yeah.
That's the way we do things. So it's a little bit of a challenge all the time going back and forth. But the other thing, and I don't mean this bad or good or whatever, but it's tough when most of the decision makers on the budget do not live in the district. Right? So they don't really feel the tax burden. Right? Lori doesn't live in the district. I don't think Chris lives in it. Does Chris live?
Yeah, about the school board?
It's central office, like
Central office.
administrative.
On an admin.
SAU.
They don't live in.
There's no superintendent,
Really?
but the business administrator that has the most authority doesn't live within the district, so you don't really feel the tax pinch the way we know the tax pinch to be.
And that trickles down to principals too,
Right.
so, cause they're the ones going to, the principals are going asking for all the money.
Right.
Before the BA and,
Right, so it's,
I think only 2 of
Christian.
our principals are. in this
I think it
room.
makes a difference. Right, in my mind anyway,
Well, it does say with a police officer, if he lives in the town that he's patrolling, you know?
they feel tighter,
If you're gonna serve the community, you should serve the community, you're right, I agree with that.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's tough. So anyway, go to the next page.
Bill wanted to
Question
jump
about
in on
this.
something.
Yeah,
So also in the packet, there was just a letter, the FY 2026
Yeah.
estimated fund balance savings.
yes,
Right, that mentions that a list will be provided on May 12th. Is that where
I
that
think-
list came from?
I think so, I think
Because
that's.
there's a pretty big discrepancy. If you add up everything up top,
Yeah,
it's about 795,000.
right,
And then you got the 80,000 for capital spending, and then you got $304,000 of income exceeded anticipated amount, which is very different than
what you see here,
what we're about to go to, sorry.
okay, so we should ask that question, why is there discrepancy between,
Well, it might just be timing, right? They might have prepared this letter,
maybe,
and then here's the list, and the list is different because they have good information for the list.
we'll see how it comes out.
Do you want me to ask that at our meeting?
Yeah, I think so.
Let me make sure I get it right.
The
So
issue,
there's a discrepancy between this whole chunk of information here at the top. It's total, you said 795.
Yes.
I just wanna make sure I ask it right, so I bring back the information.
So compare that to what's on the sheet, the page right underneath where you're writing.
what's the difference? How much?
The approximately 600,000. That were
Yeah,
roughly saying.
so they said 600,000, it's more like 795,000 and 304,000 in excess revenue, but it could just be timing.
Think this, I remember this, I think this was the beginning of April when this came out.
Right, this was also
When she, yeah, when she brought this to the school board, I think it was the first meeting in April.
so it might be just timing, I don't know. But. If you go to the next page, this, all right, you got it up, right? That's also in your packet, that shows you what the recommendation Lori is making to the school board on how to use the unspent money.
Talking about the,
So
proposed-
Lori's recommending that 2 buses be purchased,
yeah,
and 2 vans, I guess.
So there was some discussion on that, if we were able to. And I don't know how it completely, like, makes sense. It does a little bit to me, but I think differently, so. If we purchase, we free up money for other things that we need to do.
Well, you're using unspent money. Right? That's the board's prerogative, up until July 1st. After July 1st, you have to give it back to the taxpayers.
So it would free up money in the way of lease payments? Okay, so then,
Lease payments and interest.
okay,
Right, so next year, if you go into the 26-27 budget, it should be a savings of $66,000.
over how much time?
Well, we had the conversation about the life of a bus, and I think the consensus was 8 years now, right?
Optimistic consensus.
Yeah. I'm talking 8 years for 2 buses. Out of, I don't know what their fleet
It
number,
would take 8 years to save the 66,000
I think that was 66,000 a year.
a year.
Yeah,
well, so that would be our payment for leasing it if we did that. And that won't occur if we just buy it.
One-time purchase
Okay,
of 2 buses.
that makes sense.
Are these 2 buses separate from the buses we talked about in the last meeting
So
about?
I got, yeah,
I think they're in addition to,
That was my other question. That was
Okay,
Tonight.
okay, that's on. my
but
list.
that one clarification on that wouldn't hurt.
I haven't heard any more conversation about that. You're talking about the loan that they were looking for?
Which I, based on my, if I'm jumping around, someone tell me not to, but based on what my looking into and review of the school board notes and whatnot from, I think it was the April 6th meeting. They got the go ahead to secure the loan. So I personally am under the impression that they have taken the loan out.
It's like a $500,000 loan. Plus they want 285 change.
I would think
Yeah,
that,
we should just ask for clarification, because I can't believe that would be true.
I-
They probably wanted those 2 buses. I don't know that they can lease them. I don't know that you can legally enter a lease that's not been voted on through the budget, but if they have extra cash, they can just buy them. And so I wanna know, when it says purchase 2 buses, is it truly just cash purchase?
right, that's what she meant.
that's
Yeah.
truly.
Okay, then it's probably those 2 buses.
If you add all these numbers up, they come close to, cause that's 100 and that's almost 400. So, or 300, 285, and then another 50 and 50. I wonder if that's the amount. Maybe they decided to split it up I'll ask and get clarification on it just to make sure.
My understanding from one of the other school board members is that the 500,000 is a municipal loan. which is quite different than standard loans.
Yeah.
Because it's based on approval of the voters. Right?
Okay.
And,
I guess I didn't pick up on
I
that.
didn't either.
yeah, that's what I was told by one of the other school board members.
Okay,
That it's a municipal type loan.
so we need to vote on if
It
they're,
needs to get voted on, to get put into the, either get put in the budget next year, or. You just can't, the school board or the school district cannot just go out and borrow money without some voter approval.
Okay,
But usually those type of loans have a clause in it that allows us. Not be liable if the voters say no.
okay,
We do it a lot with like heavy equipment and things like that, like big trucks,
Is,
things like that.
is this an increase in the amount of buses we'll have? Or is it to replace ones that are in rough shape?
I believe it's replacing, I think they took some old ones away. There's something with some of the buses where the engines weren't great or something, and they're trying to get rid of those because they're maintenance.
And I think I heard a rumor that the mechanic said that if we're gonna go to this extending the life of buses, first we have to get rid of the two old bad ones or something like that. So, you know, we could ask that question too. Is this part of that plan?
I think there's obviously a huge difference between two new buses to add on to the fleet versus replacing.
I think it's
you know?
replacing, and that's the only way you're gonna extend the life of all the buses for 1 year.
Now you sound like my wife, if I buy more shoes, they won't wear out as fast.
Well, that's the story, I don't know.
Yeah.
That's the story.
I love those notes to show you, because I'm just gonna also be listening, but looking up the school board notes from that meeting, cause like, I understand, like, we all could be like interpreting it different ways, but I was very much
Yeah.
under the impression that it was voted on and the money's been taken.
I was under the impression that the school board voted for it,
For the loan,
for the loan.
they gave, I'm really certain they gave Lori permission to do what she
Yeah.
needs to do.
Yes, that's my assumption, so
I like his it.
I like Steve's answer a lot better, but I honestly, I really hope you're right, Steve.
Well,
No matter what, it's gonna show up somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
to Bill's point, clarification.
But at this point in time, right? Yeah, I don't know. I don't know where they're gonna put it.
So I would, if the $500,000 loan was true. It would make. To me. A whole lot more sense. If that 442. At 640
Mhm.
went toward the principal of that $500,000 loan. But that's just me.
I agree with you.
Cause
I mean,
we're gonna have to pay it back.
right. I'm sure we did give permission for the 500 because it was replacing buses that were old. If I'm remembering correctly. I don't remember her coming back and saying, I did X, Y, and Z, and here's the thing, and we did.
I haven't heard any of that in
So I-
anything I've listened
Yeah.
over.
That's why I'm wondering if they pivoted because there's other things and they wanna free this $66,000 up to use for other things.
I can tell you that nobody on the school board picked up on that $500 loan when she asked this question. That was never discussed, because I was yelling at the television. So,
Yes. You gotta stop doing that. Good point.
what about, because I don't, because my son's sports right now, I can't get to the meetings, I watch them on Sunday mornings, but. Thank God for YouTube, but, yeah, there's nobody on the school board picked up on that versus. So, yeah, there's still, that's, to me, I'm nervous about that.
Okay. I'll ask. And come back with an answer.
I really thought Chris was gonna pick up on it, but
I think I know there was a lot of things put in front of us. In a short period of time, and. I feel like, if I'm remembering right, it was to replace to rotate some old buses out and put some in there that were newer, and she did explain that it would be a longer life of the bus. But it doesn't make sense to do both of these things. I don't think, especially with the small amount of students that we have. Like, I'm assuming, and I hope I'm right,
Mhm.
that this is happening in lieu of the loan. The purchasing, because it gives us more operating capital during the year to use for other stuff. But I will ask if I'm right or wrong, and I will come back and let you know that. But I do agree with you, it doesn't make sense to do both, and it does, if there is the other thing in play, $500,000, it would make sense to put that money towards the balance to eliminate it faster.
I agree.
I don't remember a term on that by Earl, there was one, but
So there
I
is,
think cause she was only what I watched in the school board meetings, she was going out shopping for the loan.
Yeah.
So that she could
Bring it.
come,
It's right here.
so if you dig deep enough in the notes from the 6th. There is, there was a motion that Jamie Teague and Chris Spalding. Pushed it through to approve bus financing with Claremont Savings Bank as long as there are no prepayment penalties and allow the VA to work out. A document with them, motion passed unanimously.
So the loan hasn't been secured yet?
I read that, I mean. I read that as they are
Giving her permission,
giving her permission to do what needs to be done.
but we haven't heard anything
I
back.
actually done it.
That's,
We don't know.
I don't know, I haven't heard anything back.
I've heard we've already secured the 2 new buses. That's also has been discussed, is that there are 2 new buses that are already somewhere between here and being possibly like set up with all of our computer systems and stuff. I can't like totally confirm that, but there is definitely talk that there are 2 new buses already,
But that's assuming they've been paid for then
or they were this loan.
from the loan.
That is the conversation I'm hearing out in the towns, is that the buses have been purchased. And
Because if it
they
was
are
from the extra money. That hasn't been allocated towards the buses yet. This is,
Well, unless the school board voted, it's not
we
done,
don't know it. So
yeah, I don't know.
the working assumption would probably be that it's for the loan if they got
Yeah,
it. Yeah, it'd be good to find that out.
I don't know,
unless it's a lease buyout.
not what she's saying,
I know that's not what she's saying.
no, that, even Lori didn't say that.
Yeah.
Thing, she said.
Well,
why would you finance,
I
to
wouldn't,
buy out a finance?
I wouldn't.
That's bad.
No, the finance, no. I'm saying the finance is probably for new buses, but maybe this might be, cause this number is low compared to what the new buses
Well,
cost.
that was kind of the question we had, I don't, how many buses with that 500?
All more reason for
I've
clarification.
heard 2.
So you're buying 2 buses with 500,000, but you're asking for 2 buses at 285? That ain't math in my head.
Okay, so that.
I think we just need clarification and not,
So.
I'd like to encourage us
We
to,
think these are different buses.
That actually makes sense.
Yeah.
So what he's saying is, we've already had these other buses in a lease, and maybe we're wanting to eliminate that lease. And just own them outright, and that we've already paid X amount of dollars towards them, and that's why it's so low. Compared to the 500 for the other. It could be that, but I'll ask that question too, I'm gonna have a lot of questions.
I would like to encourage us not to get bogged down on this one detail.
So, one of the things when I was reading over this, he's asking for these. To use this money, couple of, 2 quick things, so. In the last handful of years, every year, pretty much each school has a request. For capital. Repair or project, right? Majority of them get voted down. Well, those same projects never come back up again.
Interesting concept.
So. With that, number 2. We're listening to everything going on with their ideas with, which I think has stopped now, but. There's been some talk about life safety, sprinkler systems. In Vilas and, I believe Vilas and or. There's another school we're talking about. That is capital all day. And that needs to be priority. I know Joey Carter brought up some, firewall stuff, which was low money, but still. That should be capital. So to me. I question priorities, number one, but number two. This excess. Could go to those safety upgrades that need to be. And even whatever sprinkler systems for however we're gonna work out the north wall pole thing conversation. The sprinkler systems are safety number one. To me. And like, I know Charlestown had the steps. Held back this year, last year was the steps on the front entrance. 2 years ago, that got voted down, but then it went to the wayside. We need to look back at these capital projects and prioritize those before. If we've got this much savings at the end of the year, because. We can pay out, we can get quotes, I say this, don't stab me in the back, but. We can get quotes and redline those, to those quotes. Still use the money left over. From this budget. After July 1st, that money can still be used, it doesn't have to go back to the taxpayers, to my understanding, because that's how we do it in healthcare.
What was that now?
So if we have a promissory note, if we have a quote for a project, say.
Right, we cut a purchase order.
We've got a purchase order
That's
for
the
it, and if it goes over the July
That's
1st,
fine.
we can still do that because of encumbered funds.
That's correct.
I said it wrong the first time, I had to get it
Yeah, that's
straight in
Yeah,
my
that's-
head before I can get it
that's
out
correct.
right.
You have to have a valid
So.
contract.
I'm trying to get some priorities out of this SAU for building safeties and. Project that got asked for last handful of years and then got pushed. Or just forgotten about, so why were they a priority back then, but now they're not a priority now? I mean, you know. That's just my thoughts on this savings, what we could do with it. Thank you.
We wanna jump on to another document and packet.
I would go on to, the one that says All Mountain Regional Unaudited Financial Report of General Fund.
The April 30th one?
Yeah, April 30th. Yep.
Yeah, bear with me, I was trying to pull it, no, it's not that one. There we go. Sorry for the delay, folks. There we go.
Okay. So just some format things. The function, you can find out the function code should match up to this, but that chart of accounts that I gave out last week should line up with that to give you an idea of where it's coming from. If you go all the way over to the right, you'll see a column that says notes. And there's all these letters. At the end of the document, there's an explanation of what each one of those letters mean and what it means to the budget. So if you look at the first one coming down, it says other local sources. And it says F all the way over. If you read F, it says changes in the trustee services and checks were written directly to Alsted. In process of getting this corrected to are able to deposit funds. So they had to make some adjustments to allow for that. And as you go down, it says A and G. You can keep reading them. Due to reduction in ADM and FNR numbers, actual adequacy decreased by 410,000, which was added to the town assessment. So because of you had asked somewhere, Bill, about reduction in state aid. That's where one of the lines that it shows up. And then you go down the list and figure out all of them that are there. So it's nothing earth shattering, it's just a lot of adjustments are being made during the course of the year to bring everything in line. And the other one that's interesting, if you go down to the next section underneath that, all the way down the bottom, you see the Bs. Unable to fill positions and need to obtain contracted services. So you see those lines are going over because we have to get those services anyway. How we get them is to go out to contracted services if they don't have the staff in-house to do them.
They're required services, though, we need.
That's correct.
Yes.
Performing services by,
Yeah.
by, IEP.
Which one you talking about, Steve?
If you go down to the section, you'll see, psychology services.
Your title on top is Fall Mountain Regional School
Right
District unaudited financial report of general fund.
Yeah,
And I go
Yep.
over here, see all these little notes here.
yeah, all the Bs.
Yeah.
You said the B stood for what?
Go at the bottom, you'll see notes.
Yeah, the B's benefits excess over budget, right?
You're on the,
Am I on the wrong one?
Yep.
No, it's not universal. Okay, now that makes sense. Oh, yeah. My bad.
Then you'll see other things as you go along with that, so.
So, on, unable to fill position. I'm curious. Why, where did it go? Speech services increased. If it's something that's not even filled, I don't even know what speech services is, that if somebody stutters, they can go and.
Yeah, so it's if in their IEP, if they need speech and language services, which is a big umbrella of things.
Yeah.
And then, so it has the B and the C next to it, so there was the unable to fill the positions, so they need to. Because we are required by those IEP documents to offer those services, so we had to go to an outside contracting firm to get speech and language pathologists to meet with students. And then also the C is they missed a speech position that was previously grant funded. So
So is the increase on the grant?
I think it's a mix of the two. I think part of it is to make up for the missed grant. And then.
It hasn't been filled.
And then we don't have enough speech pathologists in the district in-house
Yeah,
to offer services to all the students that need it. And that includes any evaluations that have to be done by a speech pathologist. And then as well as when all of that is done and the services they need, whether it be twice a week for 30 minutes, things like that, like they have to meet with somebody.
so if we fill the position, the person, we'd be paying that person that amount?
Not
Plus,
necessarily.
Not necessarily, no, because I think it is two separate things, but that's why there's the two separate letters, because. We
Right.
still need the contract and we need to cover for the fund, for the missed.
Do you know how long that has been open now, unfilled, that?
I don't know,
Anybody?
from a special ed background, I can tell you that those positions are hard to fill. And so I have noticed that we're leaning towards there's an outside company that has people that do it.
So how many years? And I'm just curious, from our past conversation a couple months ago there, so if that's allocated, it doesn't get spent, it keeps getting pushed forward. And then if it's not filled, you can use that money to either return it to the taxpayers or use it for something, pay for a bus or whatever. Are there many of these services that we're required to have that year after year just go unfilled because there's nobody out there interested in filling?
Yes.
Yeah.
And all this money just sits there in limbo?
Well, it's,
No, but it's in limbo.
It's in limbo and this stuff, we by law have to provide it, so we have to go to third party. Contracting to get it filled.
Well, what if that doesn't happen?
it has
It
to,
has to happen.
It has
it's-
to happen.
and that's where it gets murky, and that's where like. You might have to end up spending more.
So this is getting filled now, just in a different way?
Yes, because
Instead of like a
legally,
On-site staff, yeah.
it's an
kind of
online, it's
contract.
a remote.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's remote, sometimes it's people coming in. It's however the special ed director. Works to get those things, but anything that falls under a special education. Code is we legally have to offer those services. And
Yeah.
sometimes that is going outside, and sometimes if we only can get someone that's more expensive.
Are we doing more of it subcontracting like that, or?
Well,
Is it
I don't know if
majority
it's more
in-house?
or less, but you have to provide the services.
No, I'm just curious,
The
though.
cost trade-off is if you,
Do we know what the percentage is, like, even roughly, like, what's it in-house versus subcontracting out?
you can ask Sandra to come in and explain it better,
Yeah,
but.
I mean, I get the gist of it, I'm just curious about.
I think it's
which
one
way it
speech
leans more, you
pathologist.
know?
Yeah, I don't think anybody at this table knows the answer to the
Yeah, that
question.
question directly.
Yeah,
No,
okay,
but it's, that's what you have to do.
yeah,
It's-
no, I get it, it's the same
Right.
requires it.
There was one year, I think it was like now 4 years ago, there was a painter in the budget. Right, and it went unfilled for like 2 years. And finally, the budget committee just said, it's time to call it quits. If you haven't hired somebody in 2 years, either you don't need the position or what's going on with it, so I think we.
But that wasn't a required thing.
It wasn't required, so we just pulled it out, that was one of our recommendations, was to get rid of that position. So,
Just about everything, if not all, the special ed is required from the state.
every bit of it,
Almost every.
every bit of it is.
And to add to that same umbrella is if halfway through the year, we have a student that moves into the district. And we didn't have that, if he has a special service, whatever it is. And we don't have that person in-house. We still gotta backtrack and find that person or sub it out again, so that number can change. Or the kid, or the student can leave. And we don't have to do that service anymore. So there's that variable.
And that includes paraeducators, if they need to have a one-on-one person with them, if we don't have it and they move in, we have to provide them.
I wonder how many of these subs are double and triple dipping in different districts, getting really good pay.
I think it's all part of their contract because they're contracted services, so,
Yeah, they work for companies that's what they do.
Right? I assume it's more expensive subbing it out,
Oh, absolutely.
way more expensive, I would assume, because.
Because our pay scales are obviously gonna be less than what?
Yeah,
The
because
third
they're
company
just
is,
trying to
because
do whatever
you're
we
paying-
want.
You're paying the third company to manage, and part of that is the salary of that person.
So, does anybody know how heavy the promotion of these positions that are needed? Alright,
Well, we have a full-time. Director of HR, and I assume that's the recruiting that he's doing.
because it seems like it'd be a big money saver for the taxpayer and good quality having somebody on site that could be here any given time, you know?
I don't think there's much reason to worry that they're doing this often because it's not cost effective, that they lose. I mean, if they do this, rather than hire, if they pay an outside company to do it, instead of hiring someone, it's gonna drive up their budget.
Yeah,
It's-
that's what we're saying, right?
Right, yeah.
If you could have somebody in
Right,
now,
so
I would guess.
hopefully, they're trying to get people in-house that. It's in their best interest to go for the cost savings and hire people.
Yeah,
I don't think they'd intentionally go, no, we're not gonna hire anybody.
I know staffing in every industry in the state is difficult because New Hampshire's average age is like 55 or something. So there's not a lot of the mid-20-year-olds to 44-year-olds in the work, your prime workforce age.
I get it. I can't even open up my ice cream because nobody's coming into work.
So it doesn't matter if we're like looking for a superintendent or some of these special ed services or a painter. District next door is probably trying to fill the same positions as well, so everybody's in a recruitment battle to boot,
Yeah.
outside our district. So it's very challenging.
Yeah, I don't think. There's any question that the workforce needs in the whole country is desperate, so. So that's this document, and then the other ones that are in your package are just the individual towns and the high school. I don't think we have to go through them, but gives you the same report when we localize, so you can see how each individual.
Which one do you want?
So since I'm new, I don't understand the column encumbrance. I mean, I know what an encumbrance is, but I don't understand how it could be so cool.
I don't have my glasses.
Right, is it just mislabeled? It's not an
No.
encumbrance, it's anticipated,
It's anticipated cost,
okay, anticipated cost, not a true
it's
encumbrance.
not a true, it's anticipated, they're anticipating that much more is gonna take place
Thank you.
between now and the end of the year.
So there was one that jumped out at me. When I was looking through this the other day,
Right?
Which one are you on?
this one's for the high school. And I don't know exactly, I know the gist of it, but I don't know how. What they were planning. 2210 curriculum development. We've got 86.75% available. Did we sign up for something and not do something, or did we? That's a huge. I mean, I know that it was only, say, 40 grand, but when you see 86%,
Yeah.
did they not go to I don't know if that's for professional development or for the students. I don't know.
We'd have to ask,
I'll ask.
she didn't code that. If there's anything unusual about the line.
Yeah,
Do you want me to ask what it's for? Why?
what was the plan for that 40 grand that didn't get used?
It didn't get used, right?
Food services, I don't remember. There was something to that fee. Oh,
Yeah, we only get so much for having to give away more food.
yeah.
Of the weekends. Questions? I encourage you to look at it if there's questions. Feel free to ask, or reach out.
Cool. Moving on. Next,
At the last meeting, we asked about a letter to be drafted. It's in here in the package. If you want to go through it. If you want to send it, it's okay. If we don't want to send it, that's okay too.
yeah, it's only one T in Garrett, Steve.
Okay. Sorry.
I like it. I was gonna bring this up under new business, but it fits better here. I believe it was 2 school board meetings ago. Lori asked the school board, or stated that the budget committee should streamline information requests through the chair. Last year, Steve was pretty much the only one that did
Yeah.
it. So I kinda just let Steve rock his bad self and we kept the stuff on the agenda for months on end, cause it never got answered. This year, Suzanne seemed eager, so I was gonna let her have a swing at it. In the last month, we've had every information request fulfilled. And gotten a boatload of data from the admin via Krista. So I feel like we're on a brand new path.
I was
Oh,
thinking
but-
the same thing.
I do wanna respect Lori's time. The only deviation I'm gonna make is if Krista's willing to, I'll pass the torch on to her or let her. Cause she's gonna, I don't wanna use the words hammer, but Krista's gonna ask Lori a lot of questions from school board angle anyways, and if she wants to double up for the budget committee. It's streamlining Lori's time if I'm not asking her and
Right,
you're
and
not
then
asking her, so I don't.
Right.
I can't-
yeah,
I don't wanna speak for Lori, but I'm sure as long as the budget committee's streamlined.
Yeah,
She won't have a problem with it.
okay, and I can run that by both her and Alyssa and just
Yeah.
ask if that's okay to do, because I think it would be easier. For everybody, if there was just one point of contact back and forth, and then I could
And it-
bring everything I have.
Absolutely
And she's
treats everybody else's time with the utmost respect.
Right, and she's not bombarded, because she did make the point when she provided us all the information that we have today, that she's the only person. I mean, she does have people who help her, but at the end of the day, the buck stops with her, and she is only one person, and there has been a lot of movement in lots of different areas, but we still need it.
Hmm.
So I think that would help her if she only had, and if they want me to go through a list, either way, it's still easier, because it's just like 3 people, and then we're going back and forth, and then I can get what you guys need. I don't mind doing that.
I'm fine, but I just
Yeah.
want, the most important thing is to get the information.
No, I think it's awesome that, like, I saw you had one, Jake. And then did you hit, I thought she answered one for you.
She answered one from me from budget season, from voting season, I asked, she
Oh.
finally responded to it.
In the last month, that's what that one was?
Yeah,
Oh, no way, so I thought you had used the link when I read that.
before I was even voted into this, before I got talked into this board.
Yeah.
I reached out, I'm like, hey, can I get, like, what's going on with this? I needed, cause I'm looking at athletics, cause I don't know. How much fall I'm gonna spend on
I feel
athletics.
personally like it would be easier for her if it was just one person and she didn't have to mess with the.
Absolutely,
But I'll ask and make sure that they feel the same way.
Yeah.
But it would be easier for everybody.
One of the questions that's been in my head now, we're the third meeting into the season is, I was really surprised she's not here. Not picking on you as you're.
well, so I'll make a statement to that, last year. And it was a habit left over from Amanda Chafee, in the session before last year. So that both, Amanda was involved with both, but we had kept reports from the administration on the agenda. And every once in a while, I'd have financials to go over,
Cause even
but
the questions about the buses.
Yeah.
And that $500,000 loan.
Right.
If she was sitting in that chair over there, she could answer it.
or even respecting her, knowing that she lives 45 or an hour, 5, even if hey, here's a quick report for you vampires, cause you're gonna grill me, so here you go. But she's busy and I'm not her boss, so however,
No, I understand that, I was just surprisingly that.
well, I'm in your camp that like, if I had her job. And I had this group pounding me with questions, I'd at least maybe. Oh, but getting. The amount of information we got in the last 30 days is awesome.
I agree.
I like this letter, if there was a motion,
I'm wondering if we should hold it,
you won't hold it?
let's see how Krista does. I don't know, I'm just putting it out there, because you don't wanna.
Yeah, we
If the
don't-
report is going okay, you don't
Yeah.
wanna push it too far.
And I know she listens to the meetings, so she's pretty much already got the letter already.
Yeah. Yeah,
I don't disagree with that. I mean, I think you're right. Like, she did help, like.
This last
us,
month was
like,
incredible.
Give us all this
Mhm.
information, so I feel like that's really awesome. And if we could keep that going.
yeah, let's see
I
if we
think
can
the
keep it
message
going
over.
without pounding the wall.
We'll just keep this in the save file.
It's okay. It's fine.
Alright, moving off the letter, next on the agenda,
Can I make a quick announcement?
absolutely.
Fall Mountain beat Stevenson
I
baseball
was wondering,
in extra innings, 5-4 with a close play at home plate.
Wow.
Nice.
So that's what I've been told.
There you
we're
go.
not gonna talk about Charlestown Middle School baseball,
I didn't bring that up.
appreciate that, that's why I was late.
Budget committee 101 review.
Okay, that was good. I think I sent it out. If I didn't, I apologize and I'll go back and do it. But I think it's good for all the new members to read through it. If there's any questions. Once you get on email, you can get it. Once you meet with him tonight, you'll get on email,
Yeah,
then you can get the information.
can't
But
wait.
Is that the Word document?
yes,
Okay,
yeah,
I couldn't, and
You
it's
guys
not,
want me to try to pull it off?
I
yeah,
couldn't,
at least the cover page.
I couldn't open it because, but that was on my side of things.
Okay.
Oh, I'm gonna send it to my work email and do it that way.
What date did you send it? I only have 2 emails from you and.
Yeah, I might not have sent it. That's why I said you got a Word document, so. But I'll resend it to make sure. But it's a good document to read. We put a lot of effort into getting it right.
The guidelines document?
Yeah, the guidelines.
And then I actually think I might have handed, that might be the one thing I did print out. Oh, out of the whole packet, I still have a bunch of you guys with all the boring RSAs and whatnot. Oh shit, let's see. Sorry, I'm not the most tech savvy. Bear with me. No, don't open that. Here we go.
Oh, I don't think you sent that.
Yeah,
Oh,
no,
there was a Word document that I was trying to open on my phone and then,
yeah.
and then I couldn't get to my laptop because.
So I think I handed this out first meeting. Cause I felt that was worth wasting paper on. Yeah.
But I think it's a good document for people to read and gives you the guidelines of what we're trying to accomplish. Who does what when.
That one?
Yep,
Yeah, we have that one.
okay, good, yeah, so.
Yep.
That's all. So if there's any questions.
That was in the
come back
email?
and ask.
That one I handed out a hard copy. If you still got any of the papers from the first meeting,
Yeah,
it's in that stack of first
Yeah.
papers.
not last meeting.
No, not last meeting. We can,
I'm sorry I wasn't here for that, everybody.
no, that's
I
fine.
have it right
Perfect,
here.
perfect attendance is almost impossible.
I was just in so much pain, I couldn't. think.
Oh, are you okay?
So. No.
Matt, do you want a copy of it right now? Cause I can,
That'd be great, sure, yeah. Don't mind.
Is there other stuff on the 101 we wanna go over, Steve?
No, so I just wanted to make sure everybody had a copy of it, unless you have something. Take this while.
No, I think I'm good.
Actually, I just realized we're missing one tonight.
Was that?
We're missing a person tonight too.
Rayanne wasn't able to make it.
In Georgia, having dirty soda, I don't know, Dr. Pepper with half and half in it or something. It looks good, she's having fun.
No, it's Dr.
Misses
Pep,
everyone, I'm sure.
Dr. Pepper and Apple Crown Royal.
I don't think, well, that
They were in
one's been in
school,
there,
we did
you
like-
didn't say that part.
Sure we can. I've said gun in this thing
I
before.
love Dr. Pepper.
Remember Dr. Pepper during back in the day where you lit a shot on fire and you dropped it in your beer? You drank it really fast and it tasted like Dr. Pepper.
No way.
Yeah, yeah.
Back to serious note, is there, anybody got any more questions on, budget committee 101 review? Cool. Any other business?
I can bring one thing up, don't shoot me, cause I know everybody's like so glad to be out of here soon in a few minutes. but
Nobody's gonna shoot you, Krista.
$700,000 that's just sitting there, what can we like do to get that out of the account so we can use it? Is there like some sort of suggestion that would be better than what went to the ballot last time? Because that insurance money that was supposed to be used for that can't, and it's just.
All the capital insurance,
Oh, what would be a better use of that?
Or just something that we gotta get it out of there, cause it's just sitting there. And we can't. It's
I had,
Oh, this is
The dead
the health insurance.
Yeah,
So how much is in there?
$700,000.
so,
No, nothing?
yeah, so. I spoke against what wanted to happen with this money last, cause it wanted to get repurposed. Or there was conversation of repurposing it for a parking lot driveway improvement. Personally, I had a philosophical issue with that, cause the money was put in there for health insurance for the staff. That's what townspeople, all 5 towns put it in there for over the years. When we self-funded health insurance, which we haven't done for, what are we on, like, that's like super old news at this point, right, Steve?
Right.
So that's why I wasn't in favor of reallocating the money to fixing the driveway, even though we need that parking lot fixed bad. Not gonna disagree with that. I taken it all and taken almost $750,000 and chucking it at district's health insurance costs for a year would be kind of like this with the tax rate,
Right.
but maybe if we divided it by 5 and threw it, because health insurance is gonna go up every year,
Right.
unfortunately. Unless some massive overhaul in that industry happens, but I'm not gonna hold my breath. Maybe we just suggest that we put it to the people to, do we slowly over 5 years so that it doesn't do this to the up and down the tax rate as much for the communities? And then, yeah, it's only gonna be $140,000 a year or whatever, round hip shoddy, no calculator math, but it's,
Stabilizes something in the meantime.
yes, Matt.
Let's, correct me if I'm messing this up, but under the purchase of the 2 buses, 285,000, right? That's allocated, as far as I understand, the money that was left over. Then there's another 700,000 left over.
You know, so the 700,000 sitting in a capital reserve fund and no vote was passed last year to use it. So it's still just sitting in the capital reserve fund, because capital reserves aren't part of the operating budget.
But they can be if people voted on it.
Well, the money can be spent if people vote on it. And then it has to be spent for what it's voted on.
But the taxpayers have to agree what we're gonna use it on.
And you're saying it's allocated for capital? Say it again.
It's a capital reserve fund that was set up,
The hearings.
back in the day. The school district used to self-insure for health insurance.
And can you use that for buses? I'm just curious.
It would,
The people would have to vote that on a warrant at the yearly meeting.
Cause in theory, we got between that and the 700,000, if the voters knew we had this money to vote on. I mean, the taxpayers have $1 million sitting there essentially, but they're taking out a $500,000 loan to buy buses. To me, this
Well, so
sounds,
the intent
this
of
sounds nuts to me.
so the intent of that fund at the 700,000 sitting in there was originally for health insurance cost.
But it didn't get used.
and then this year,
They changed the purpose, which has to be voted on.
We voted on. So
and this year it was discussed to have it go to repairing and paving the parking lot here at the high school.
part of the 700,
Yes, that's.
Oh, they were gonna use
They were gonna use that.
Plus some.
all of it to get that fund closed up, because if we wanna dive into inflation conversation, to your point of the money just sitting there, it's worthless just sitting there because the value of it's eroding with how.
oh yeah,
Oh,
the dollar devalues every day.
yeah,
It's just, I'm not used to this, as a businessman, this
Yeah.
is completely insane. To have $1 million sitting there and then take a loan for $500,000.
well, so what's driving that is that this money's pigeonholed for that, and the expense that we're trying to cover is not that.
So how can we get that freed up by having the townspeople vote?
It
Yeah.
has to go to a warrant.
It got voted down.
It got voted down.
I think
So
my,
the voters said, no, you just gotta sit on that 700.
Well, because enough of the voters felt that the money shouldn't switch causes.
Yeah. and-
or just didn't want,
For that.
or a lot of people just when they go to the ballot box, cause they're in fight or flight because the taxes are out of control, is no, 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 no.
I know a guy
no.
like that.
I think part of it is too, for me, with this fund, is I think there needs to be a bigger discussion with the taxpayers about thoughts on how they would like to see that money spent. And I don't feel like with that money and the warrant article this past budget season, there was enough transparency in the plan to use that money. There wasn't, and again, in my opinion, there wasn't a big discussion. It was just like, we have this money and this is what we want to use it for, and everyone's gonna vote on it. And then that got, so that's why I personally, also, I voted that I didn't agree with it, but it was more for me because it wasn't transparent and we weren't providing the voters with any option. It was just, this is what we're gonna do. And then a lot of people brought up the health insurance thing for sure. So that's why it's just sitting there, because we, as a collective, we haven't voted on what to do with it.
Is any, without digging through all this mess, the papers, what is the total? What was the total, amount for health insurance benefits coming into the new budget?
No, the total was,
I
it
don't-
went up a lot though, right? It went up 21%.
Yeah, it was 20, yeah, it was the 20 to 12%.
Something like that.
I want to say it was like
So,
something thousand. Like it was.
I've been thinking about, you and I are in the same boat, same page with this, but I didn't think about the 5-year stretch. To take that 7 million and put it into one,
700,000.
sorry, 700.
I wish it was so.
You would
Well,
have fixed all our
hey,
problems.
sorry.
It's been a long day.
No, that's fine, just because somebody might listen to this down the
I
road.
hope so, that's 700. To throw it, to put it in 1 year's budget, like you said. Will bring down. The thought will bring down the tax rate or tax percentage, but for 1 year. And without doing the math. It probably isn't a lot.
I
But
love
over
it.
5 years, it's gonna be a whole lot easier to digest because. So if it drives it down 5%. I know that's that's not 5%, but 5% for easy numbers. Following year with inflation on health insurance plus. That 5% not being there anymore, you're really not gonna get anything voted on. So. The 5 years is probably a good thought.
Or maybe 3, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
I just think it'd stretch it out a little bit.
I feel like maybe, and I don't know, cause I've only been here 4 years, so don't mess with her. I feel like probably for a while, there wasn't as much eyes on everything because stuff wasn't as expensive. So they were used to kind of like handling the things that they were handling, and now that it's come to a head and everything's so expensive, we're watching every little thing. And so everybody's like. On either side is just, cause they feel attacked, but then we feel robbed. So it's like push and shove when before it got to this point. I don't think that there was anyone doing anything wrong on either end, but now we're seeing it in many different areas like healthcare, property taxes, the state's pulling back on adequacy aid, and there's all these little things that are kind of like being thrown at us at the same time.
Well, I think the voters proved that theory.
Right. And we need to figure out a way, and I think we're on the right path, like you said, to really look at this stuff and maneuver through it together, because that's the only way we're gonna win. Really, like all of us,
You have to be,
but we have to be fiscally responsible because there's no other way we can be right now.
right, but to achieve that, right, you have to put all of what you know off to the side.
You're right,
Because what you know today
it's changing.
is changing so rapidly, right? And I've been through this a lot of times. And I'm through it now in my own budgeting now. And you just gotta say, okay, gee, it's nice that we have. Classes with 12 kids. Does 18 kids still make sense?
Right, it
Right,
does.
and what does that mean to the budget? right?
Right.
You'd start playing scenarios just to try to figure out what's going on. Can you afford to have a bass club anymore? You know,
Right.
this
Now,
is,
we
you
had
gotta ask.
36 kids in a class in my school, so I
Right.
don't know what this 12 kids or whatever is.
Well, but these are the things you have to look at, right? And, I mean, Chris always advocated that we should go away from block scheduling, right? And I don't know if that's good or bad.
On a side note, personally. We should, because none of the neighboring schools do, so there's 2/3 of the school year, you can't transition a kid in. Or out of the school district and have any quality education. Besides the financials of. Traditional scheduling is more financially effective.
I agree. I thought about it, like just my personal opinion. Cause I'm looking at the proficiency ratings and they're not good. And I'm thinking like, okay, a teacher has this many kids, 20 maybe in a class. And maybe 75% of them finish their work early in a traditional schedule. And so maybe they can do homework or other things, but those other 30% of those kids that are struggling. Have that teacher in that room for the rest of that period, even if the other kids don't need it. And they're able to benefit from that. And maybe they're able to do better and perform better. And maybe they pass, or maybe they, get whatever they're having trouble with because they're not boom, 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 block scheduling all day long.
Hmm.
And that could be why we're looking at low proficiency ratings, because it's short attention span and it's quick trip to this class and that class and this class, and then you're done.
You're right, and the thing to look at though is you have to put all of what you know off to the side and say, I'm gonna build a school district new,
Right,
Right,
because everything.
and how do you
else
build a
changes.
new school district? With all this kind of different thinking to take place, and how do you do it, I don't know.
Yes, sir.
I was gonna say this earlier, but just as little as I've been here, I already have pattern recognition. This, back to what she was saying, this is where a lot of the resentment from the taxpayers come from. Because the pattern is, there's multiple, and I haven't dug in, but I bet if I do, I'll find a lot more. There's so much of this, it's in the budget because it has to be, and then the money sits there. And then the next year, we're still paying as much, or if not more, probably
Yeah,
taxes.
I mean, it could,
You got 10 different bullet points, all with $100,000 just sitting there in a closet, and going. How,
there was one year I looked at one of the departments, and every line item went up 5%. Every line item went up 5%. I said, how can that be possible?
it's impossible statistically.
I
Are
know
they doing
you did.
zero-based budget now?
I know what you did, you just said everything is gonna go up 5%, made your life easy.
Yeah, so
Right.
it's an arbitrary number.
Percent on
Right.
that end of the thing to have it, but. the
Right,
other
instead of
people-
going line item by line item by line item, and even in the town budget, good example in the town budget. Was. One of our workers was getting married in July. And we go from a single coverage to a dual coverage, right, in health insurance, but our finance officer. Started the budget as a two-person budget, policy on January 1st. Right? So I said, that's not right, that person's not getting married until July.
Right.
Right, those first 6 months are single coverage yet. Right, and that's what you have to do with the school budget, you have to go that detail line by line by line, not averages. Not, just line by line by line, looking at every expense. And I don't think we put that kind of effort in, I
I
just don't
think,
believe it.
right, I mean, look at just in this short conversation today, there's $1 million just sitting there. Right, and we're only talking about two things. And it's there because, they say you gotta have a speech therapist, and you gotta go through this way for the healthcare if you wanna do with this.
It's just,
But the nuts and bolts of how things are allocated or.
it's the same thing with capital reserves, right? We have all these capital reserves in the building.
Right,
All we have to do is put it on the ballot to allow vehicles to be bought with that capital reserve money. And you wouldn't see it keeping coming back in the taxes all the time.
so why doesn't this happen, or has it? I think we ought
This is the
to
problem.
work on that.
This is the problem, you have to have that kind of thinking, to save money, you have to have that kind of thinking. And I don't believe we have that as a administrative unit, we don't have that kind of thinking.
So that's the administrative duties to
Well,
figure out what to put out there.
starts there, I guess, and, you know, the school board has to ask the hard questions all the time and. You know, don't feel bad if somebody gets insulted along the way.
That's the biggest thing, I think,
Right.
if you don't take it personal, we all want the same result, you know,
Mhm.
like. We all want it to work.
Yeah, and I think you can, it's just,
Yeah.
you gotta come to the table saying. Okay, the objective is,
Right.
I would love for us to do that,
you know, this is the objective. And
It
work
just
at it.
seems to be so much that's already been paid out by the taxpayer. Let's utilize it for something good instead of shoving it in their closet. Especially like you said, if you spend it now on something like buying a vehicle, you're gonna save money in the long run. That's not gonna be in the budget again. You're not gonna need as much taxes, or if you do it. If we work together and really dug in. You might be able to find, like you were talking a couple meetings ago, where you don't have to cut that one salary. And you still got the quality of education just by getting rid of some of this other crap that's there, sitting there. Untapped.
Yeah, it's not hard. And the other thing, I personally believe that. That the principals. Primarily the principals and the SAU should be held to the proficiency numbers. They should be aligned and that says, this is where we want you wanna get raises, you wanna move ahead. This is the proficiency numbers that we're expecting.
Do we already have that, but it's not enforced?
I don't know I don't think we have
We
it.
don't have it.
Well, I mean, there's a new state RSA where they have to be on the ballot apparently.
Right. Which is good, because then you could see like, is it effective or is it not effective?
Cause that went into effect the last time we voted. Did you notice that there was proficiency
Numbers, yeah. It has to be
numbers on the ballot?
Yeah,
we should say that as a district, we want everybody to be above 80%, just pick a number.
Something, because
And that's what you hold everybody accountable for.
if it's not offensive to everybody, next time I'm gonna sit in the center. Cause I'm very, very hard of hearing.
Oh, yeah, you can
Oh,
sit right next,
absolutely.
yeah.
If I sit in the middle or something, I'll
Yeah.
hear you.
Oh, yeah, no, you can, I don't have to have the whole head of the table.
I would love to sit close to you.
Yeah,
So is there a consensus that we would like to use that money for? Towards health insurance over 5 years to get back to the original question? Or do they have any other ideas that
just looking
might,
for something that you guys would be okay with, maybe to. Present at the school board meeting to maybe they would be okay with, because it's not doing anybody any good just sitting there. It's driving me insane because my little investment brain's like, oh.
yeah, and then,
because there's no interest built.
and then you're trying to build a good solid plan way before the warrants
Right.
need to be written.
We can win this.
So
and-
you're trying to get the dialogue going early enough.
Right.
Does the school board get a copy of the MS9? I don't think so, right?
I don't believe so.
Yeah, you should be getting a copy of MS9
That's the trust fund report,
trust
right?
fund report from, I guess it's Charlestown, because they hold it, right?
Yeah, but there was like one somewhere else, there was one fund somewhere else that wasn't, don't quote me on that.
Yeah, something's not quite, I don't know where that one's at.
else there?
There was one somewhere else.
One in Walpole that they told me wasn't in Walpole, but it is in Walpole.
I understand why.
There's more
What's
than
that?
one, that's plural, there's more than one trust fund.
Yeah.
Oh, there's more than one trust fund, but the majority of them
Held-
are held by the trustees of trust funds in Charlestown.
Okay,
Right. But the report that you're looking for is MS9.
okay.
So I guess, I guess it goes back to. What? It goes back to my original, one of my questions earlier about. Priorities for capital improvement. And if we can get that priority. We should probably have a better idea how to, well, not a better idea, but other ideas. That money could go to. Pavement parking lot is a capital. It does depreciate, but it is a capital. And I understood why. I think there's actually a worse parking lot in Fall Mountain than this one. But that's my opinion.
You know, it's sad because the school board has had the opportunity at least 3 times to repair the parking lot. and they didn't move out on it.
The voters have to do that,
What's that?
the voters have to approve,
No, they had this unspent money 3 times over $1 million. They could have voted at that point to take that $1 million and put it into the parking lot. They didn't have to do anything.
Can I bring up one quick feeler?
Sure.
Yeah.
So back to, I've been thinking about. Health insurance cost increase, we all know that was nuts. And I'm only putting feelers, I'm not making a suggestion. So. The family plan, and I need numbers from Lori. So you've got a family plan, outside of. Education. And some unions. Dependents, children can stay on the family plan, but. You know, a lot of people and a lot of our taxpayers. If their significant other or spouse. Has. The opportunity. To get insurance from their employer, they are forced to do that. I'd like to find out. What kind of savings that could possibly be. To reduce that health insurance.
You know, like if they declined it because their significant other had it through their job. Okay,
The other thing too
The,
is,
the question I think is, can you force it by policy?
it has to be by policy.
That might be a union issue.
That's,
I don't know.
I'm just asking the question.
That's the question, right?
I'm just asking the question.
I think it's a good question, but
So, the other part of that, with that second question is, nobody. Not nobody, but most companies and businesses. Have done away with that buyback. It's all, most of the majority of the companies and businesses out there is if you use it. You can use it, if you don't use it, you lose it. So, and the reason I say this. It all depends on numbers, if I can get numbers, or we can get numbers. Looking at the long-term part of this, if. If the teachers wanna get, if we wanna get the teachers raises, and we would need, and we wanna get these taxpayers to approve these. The bargaining agreements. I think this is one step closer to getting to that. You know what I'm saying? So if we can get to the point where we can get, if say it's 100,000. It's probably not gonna be, but easy number is 100,000. If we can get,
Thank you.
if we can get the union in the bargaining agreement to give back that 100,000. It makes it look favorable for the taxpayers, because they did give something back. And they're gonna be better off long-term in their career. If they get the raises, they're gonna make that back in the raises, because it compounds. Health insurance doesn't compound. The buyback doesn't compound, it's a bonus. And I'm just putting the feelers out there right now, and I don't. That didn't come out of my head the way I wanted it to.
no, I get where you're going with that, so, so we're talking about like sick leave, like if you don't use it or personal time. You can-
No, if a teacher. Or staff member has, if their significant other or their spouse is on, no, wait, that was the other one. If the staff member doesn't use. The healthcare here from Fall Mountain. It's my understanding, they actually get that money back, based over,
Okay,
that's what healthcare buyback means.
Yeah, they get it's nowhere near the cost of insurance. It's, I don't know, my wife doesn't, teaches at Walpole, that's is a para or a full-time employee of Walpole. And, I think it's like $1,500.
Okay, that's a lot less than I was thinking.
Yeah, it wasn't much when, because
Okay.
it's covered on their Medicare,
Yeah,
so it wasn't.
well, that's a whole different, that's in the level.
Yeah, it was,
So if you're 45 like me and you've been working here for, and you're taking insurance and I'm single, or if I'm on my wife's insurance. I get that money back. spread out over 52 weeks.
I don't know, it was some insignificant amount of money we got for
Okay,
not taking the
I
health
get what you're
insurance.
saying.
So my point is if they give a little back in this, it's kind of a catch-22, because yeah, it is extra money, but this year, so, or the pay year. But if we can get the raises passed, that's gonna compound a whole lot quicker than that $1,500.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just to me, it's good faith from the union, from the teachers' union. And if we can show good faith to the taxpayers, we can maybe get the votes to get their raises. I'm just trying to find a balance. And the only other way to lessen the amount of, lessen the cost of insurance is to get rid of teachers, and I don't wanna do that. He might be on his own, but I don't think it'll be enough. I'm just looking at little stuff right now.
One of the reasons why, but I felt personally, the reason why the contract went down is because there was no transparency in the contract. Right? There was only a bulk number there.
But it's,
Somebody would have explained at the time that it's a 3% raise. It would have went down, I think it would have passed, because that's a reasonable
it is
increase.
3% is reasonable.
It was reasonable, it wasn't put on the ballot that way, and it wasn't explained that way, it was just this big.
Here's your number,
Here's
here's your number the year after,
Number,
here's your
I
number
remember
2 years
Terry
from
getting
now.
up and said, just remember that you going into next year, you're already starting $1 million higher, right?
Right, that makes sense.
Do you wanna add something, Bill?
I think, Krista, the big.
I mean,
But that was part of the reason that I think it went down pretty hard.
we all.
It went down for me because every year there's hundreds of thousands of dollars
Some unspent.
left over
Right,
and no transparency and some,
Right.
and so
That's what we keep-
why do we have to pay hundreds of thousands more each year than we should be?
right.
So damn it, I'm gonna vote no. I just wanna cut the budget as much as possible and tighten your belts and figure this shit
Right.
out. And it will be figured out. It has to legally.
Yep,
Right,
It will, right.
So do it.
And I
That's
think,
why I voted everything down this year.
I have this.
And we're gonna
graph-
survive.
I have this little graph that shows.
so that's the difference between like the private sector and the public sector. In the private sector, when we're forced to figure it out,
Yeah. You figure it out.
cause we don't have the taxpayers to
Tell them how
fall back
figure it
on.
out.
Right,
Figure it out.
figure it out, right, exactly. If we were, if the school district was a business, it would have been closed by now.
Yeah.
And they're not vicious, and people gotta stop thinking about that.
Circling back to what Jacob was saying to Krista's question, does the committee wanna draft an official statement to the school board about how we could potentially dissolve said capital reserve fund we've been discussing?
I think that's overstepping our authority. Conceptually, I thought it was great that they could have used it to pave the parking lot,
Yeah,
but no transparency and what I just said, I was
Yeah.
just like, drive the budget down.
I felt like last year's budget was rushed.
yeah. I guess what I'm asking is did we wanna make the recommendation on, dissolve it across 3 or 5 years or whatever and put it towards.
I would hold it until we get closer and then make a list of recommendations.
right, that sounds good, and I think that,
That'd be one of the recommendations from the
Yeah.
budget committee. It doesn't have to be in any other way, but.
okay,
And returning it to the taxpayer is always a great idea. I mean, maybe it confuses some people, but I know what's going on. And I appreciate it when my taxes are lower in December.
I was told once or twice, if we take the surplus and pay it back or give it back to the taxpayers, in the long run, our tax will be worse off. I've never been able to get an explanation.
Right, what the DRA tells us, right, Department of Revenue tells us as selectmen. That you wanna keep your taxes in a small band going up and down. You don't want a large spike and you don't want a large reduction either.
Okay,
You just wanna keep it in this middle band all the time. And it makes it easier on the taxpayer to budget
Yep.
By doing that, if you get these big spikes, this
Oh, yeah.
push up, if you get this big withdrawal, people go out and spend money, right? They don't have it when it goes back up again, right? So what you wanna do is find the spot, right?
So,
That's the hard part, is where is that spot for everybody?
so to his point. I am all for that, on this shoulder.
Yeah.
I'm also married to. She was a teacher, now she's an administrator. And I get both sides of it. We all want, every human nature, we all want raises. Cost of living sucks.
Right.
It's gonna go, it's going up, we're gonna looking at $6 a gallon for fuel oil this
Yeah.
winter. There's gotta be some give back somewhere, and I'm trying to find that, to make it, and I know. Two other school districts in our county. They went net zero
Try.
and got raises. The teachers got raises 2 years ago. It can happen. It can be done. I know it can be done. To his point, they gotta figure it out.
Yeah.
But I'm also. They're pulling on my heartstrings too, so.
Well, where do you wanna put your money, right?
Right, so for the unused funds, safeties should be a no-brainer. If there's something safety related,
Well, that,
do it. And
The
the
whole-
parking lot, right? Because that's not gonna make a big spike.
no.
Right.
The sprinkler, the change of occupancy. For I believe it was Langdon. Made absolutely no sense to me. What that told me was somebody wasn't doing the proper upkeep. Of our sprinkler systems down there. That's what that tells me in my profession. Right or wrong or indifferent. That screams. Somebody wasn't paying attention, and now that. This is the given opportunity to fix that.
Are we talking about the North Walpole School where the admin's gonna move?
It was
That-
either that or when there was discussions about combining them, I believe the Langdon to Vilas, is that what it was?
It was
That
pre-K, it was
Pre-K was going.
moving pre-K to Sarah Porter and moving Sarah Porter kids
They
to.
were claiming it was change of occupancy.
Well, it
Change
was,
of use.
yeah, change of use, cause so the occupancy is different for North Walpole because now there's not gonna be students in there. If that plan is to move in there with people, it changes the way the building needs to be. Because it's not a school. But with Langdon, it was the age of the children and it had to be, because there were 3-year-olds going in there.
Mhm.
There had to be an exit that was feasible for them. That was more than just one way in and one way out, and there wasn't.
Okay,
Because the stairs in the front. Didn't have, it was too high or something to that effect that it wouldn't be easily traversed by someone that age. So they said it's not safe enough to do that and they would have to they would have to fix it in order for it to be up to code.
okay.
And
That goes with your sprinkler thing. As well, though.
So
'Cause I
code
think-
wise, that's two different
Yeah.
things.
What was that?
To move
Code
the-
wise, that's two
To move
different
the
things.
SAU into the North Walpole School. It's a change of use. It's going
Right.
from a school to an office. And
right,
when the school was built, it was grandfathered, so there was no sprinkler system requirements. Now that you change use, you've got to bring it up to current code, and now you have to have a sprinkler in that building.
But isn't all this stuff in, that's what the capital reserves are for, and we don't need to use the. Unspent funds for capital reserves stuff. So maybe you have, what we just say, the leftover money. Funds the capital reserves.
Yeah.
And then we don't ask for a separate article.
Wait a minute,
I mean, every year we say,
we're gonna put money into capital reserves.
we're gonna put money in capital reserves.
Get
This
it
year,
out.
We just say, we're gonna take it from this reserve and put it into the others.
Right.
And any other leftover money is just gonna go right back to the taxpayers.
That's what, if you read the articles of agreement, right?
Yeah.
It says that all unspent money is to go back to the taxpayers.
Okay, well, then it should all.
The argument that the school district has made over years, is that by voting it into the capital reserves, that's giving it back to the taxpayers.
Right, I just wanna transfer it from one capital reserve to another.
Since he had said articles of agreement, triggered a question for follow-up from the last meeting. Have we found out when the last time that the articles of agreement have been reviewed on an annual? Like they
It's in the
state the
minutes. The
school,
question's in the minutes.
was that?
The question was in the minutes.
The question was in the minutes, but I was curious if
Yeah,
Chris had been able to ask the question yet, of when the last time it had.
And I will find out, cause we have been, like, that's on our list of things to,
And I'm not talking about revamping the articles of agreement, cause it's like section 9 or something says that it's supposed to be reviewed for the accuracy of the methodology or something.
Right, every year.
Yearly.
I was told it's in the annual report.
Where?
I haven't found it yet, but that's what I've been told.
I mean, I only skimmed last year's.
And the apportionment formulas are all in the annual report.
Oh, I believe they're in there, but I'm asking if they're actually reviewed for accuracy, because sometimes
Yeah, it's,
up. Like grind facilities acts, I guess, whatever
Yeah.
method that is. If a staffing change, lineup changes or something, or a position slides over here, that was everywhere, you know,
they did change it in 2023, right? Cause that's when they took North Walpole off the list of schools that they had.
yeah, but that's not what I'm,
North Charlestown.
but that's not what I'm talking about. There's yearly, there's supposed to be a review on the percentages and the methods. For accuracy.
According to the,
I'll dig it out right now.
according to the attendance, percentages, is that where?
Let me,
On the following one,
Article 9 in the Articles of Agreement is annual review process. Annually, the school board, in conjunction with the school administration, will review all line items to determine if they will need to be deleted or moved into another method. All line items. Add any new line items to the budget and assign as appropriate. Adjust apportionment percentages as appropriate in methods 3 through 6, so it's not every method. And then. A bunch of other stuff, but that's, well, there's pages, so I won't keep going. Yeah, Article 9's 2 pages long. In the Articles of Agreement on the annual review process.
if I was a betting man, I would say no.
Yeah, that's why I'm grinding the sacks, actually.
I mean, that's a huge debate, right? Changing
Oh.
apportionments, you know.
Well, so it doesn't say that they have to be changed in here, but it says it has to be reviewed.
But they did mention that it could be changed. The rates,
Yeah, 3 through 6.
right, 3 through 6, that could be a huge debate.
Yeah,
Well, probably one that needs to be debated.
I mean, it just can't be ignored constantly.
Ours was on the website.
I mean, granted, all the towns, and part of, I think what drives that is, granted, most of the towns' populations are pretty stable, but if there was a big shift.
Yeah.
In population, that could knock one of the methods way out of whack. And then one of the other towns could be picking up the burden or not paying enough.
I will ask.
I mean, obviously, if it hasn't happened in a year or two, it's not a fire that needs to be put out immediately, but it should.
I feel like they probably have. I don't wanna say, I don't wanna keep that a turn and say, but I have, I mean, just in listening to a lot of the talk and the discussion and the meeting. But I will ask and find out the answer and add it to my list of stuff when I come back.
Yeah.
I'm gonna look to ask.
Is
for-
there any discussion about changing the articles of agreement to allow each town to manage their own schools and leave the high school as a collaborative?
Not on the record.
Yeah.
But I have heard it like thrown around a couple times, like other people have asked questions about it and it's been brought up in the community and I've heard other people say things regarding that, but not like
Yeah,
officially.
it was sort of promised during the withdrawal process that if the withdrawal failed, the school board would move forward with that, but I haven't heard anything about it.
So, can you elaborate on that?
There's an RSA 196-16. I believe, I don't know if it's 16A or something like that, but it allows the articles of agreement to be modified to allow each town to be in charge of K through 8. and leave the high school as a collaborative. Which would be much, that way the district stays together as Bull Mountain Regional School District, doesn't break apart. And allows each town to have their own school board and manage their own K through 8 or pre-K to 8 grades.
So each town will have its own school board and then the full
Right,
amount.
you manage your own budget, you manage your own,
Well, what happens with shared services? Does every school, district, town need its
you can,
own?
you can
IT
contract,
department?
the SAU stays,
Transportation?
the SAU stays intact.
Yeah.
So you buy your services from SAU.
It's the same as, well, that which is ending, but it's the same as Unity's.
Yeah.
Unity and.
Right, Unity got out of Claremont.
So.
Right.
Unity has its own school board. And then there's
Right,
the Claremont School Board, and then there's a SAU school board.
right,
Keene does it too, so like not the city schools, like all the city schools have a school board, then Marlboro has a school board, Chesterfield. Any of those other towns that feed into Keene High.
Yep.
It's the same, it's the same model. I can't think of the other schools that are the outside.
But I think it's a good model because. Frankly, everybody wants to be in charge of their own destiny,
Correct.
right?
Part of that, the benefit of that too is you can look at it as if we used all the shared services as the SAU as a whole. In a business aspect of it, it's a better buying power.
Right.
So.
Right.
It's versus going to the convenience store or going to the drugstore.
Right. But at the same time, if the cost of transportation, buying it from the SAU is felt that it's too high, then the town can contract with their own bus service
To try to get it
to
better.
get a better rate.
Yep.
Right, but that was the intention of this 196, I think it's 196-16A, but
I'll ask.
How does
Got
everybody,
enough homework.
you better put yourself on the agenda first.
I'm gonna have to add it on a whole line. Sorry, there's a whole square here.
Well, that goes back to my comment about her being here. It would help. Cause you got a lot going on there for one meeting too.
Well,
some of this, yes,
You know.
conversation with Alyssa to get it on the agenda and.
yeah, and that's okay, like I will mention that and see if it's received, like if it's something that can be done. But I also don't live that far, so I can come here
I understand that too.
and relay it too, so, and I don't mind doing that.
We have minutes of meetings where Alyssa. Said that she would do that,
Okay,
continue to look into that,
okay. I have heard
Anyway.
mentioned.
it's just one of those things. All right,
I will find out and I will come back with an answer.
motion to adjourn.
Second.
Any opposed? Motion passes, meeting adjourned. Thank you, everybody.